back, Firewood Addicts, to another episode of Travis Does Firewood. Today, I have a story to tell you, but we have action. Alright, so I've been at this pile for a little bit. I got this again from a guy who used to buy a firewood from me. He's moving and he was desperate to get rid of this wood. So I've been slowly hacking at this pile with the cookies and the stuff that is at 16 with an axe. So now I'm loading it into my tote in my truck right now. A customer reached out to me um, wanting a tote worth of wood. I told him I don't have anything that's dry. This wood here, I measured the outside. That's at like I don't know, like 22 to maybe 30. He was cool with that, so I loaded that up, and then I didn't have enough, so then I brought out the um, the and the champion to finish off the job. Now I use the champion because I'm on my gravel driveway and I using an axe. I want to be up off the ground on like a stump or another round. Well, in doing so, I can't really split on the ground where I could do that on the lawn or grass, right? So I'm having to pick up the piece or the round, the chunk, put up on the round, split it, but then they fall apart. I have to pick it back up. Whereas using the splitter is less work on the body. Maybe I mean you could argue the point which is faster, a splitter or an axe. But this situation, I opted for the champion just to get it done because I wanted to move on with my day. This was around I don't know 10 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, and I didn't start till later because I didn't want to wake up the neighbors because I had to start up the champion. But anyway, that went really well. I topped it off, and in a second you'll see that I take pictures and send it to the customer to make sure that he's satisfied. And of course, I top it off, and we're off and rock and rolling. But the story today is I wanted to bring something up. I'm not gonna name any names, and I think the person who I'm gonna be talking about is no, I'm not gonna say that. Scratch that. Someone reached out to me wanting to sell me a cord of wood, and it seemed like a good deal. It was various amount of hardwood, and so like any good buyer, I asked questions, and the guy, I don't know if he was annoyed by it or not. I didn't really care. Any firewood buyer, any person who is going to be buying firewood either to flip or resell, or especially if they're even going to burn it for their own consumption, for their own heat, for their own home, garage, shed, whatever, you have to ask questions. And there's other channels who have gone into what questions to ask and how to ask it, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. What I'm going to say is, as a firewood buyer, you have to ask questions. If the seller is not willing to answer your questions, especially if they don't know the answers, that should be a flag, and you should not buy from them, no matter how desperate you are. It's it's not worth your time and effort to spend several $100s on what you think is going to be a cord and whether it's going to be seasoned to burn right away. It's not worth your time and money. You might as well just not buy from that buyer. Go to the local gas station, hardware store, buy a few bundles of wood for 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, whatever dollars it is per bundle, and buy and burn that rather than buying wood that you cannot burn right now. If you need firewood right now and you can't find anyone trustworthy on offer up our Facebook, just go to the local hardware store, gas station, and buy their wood. I'm sure it's going to be fine versus buying a quote unquote cord of wood. It's going to be garbage, it's going to be wet, it's not worth your time and effort, it's just a waste. It sucks, I know, but it's hard to vet these folks. Anyway, so I am asking this person questions, and I'm trying to gauge. So the trailer that this person has, this buyer, is fairly standard. It's going to be 10 feet long, it's going to be 5 feet wide, and the sides are going to be up at 5.5 height. So if you do the calculations, that's going to be 275 cubic feet. That space there, not heap, not anything, just from the bottom to the top, That's what it is. Well, the picture that the person shows in his ad is loosely stacked. Now, there's other episodes and channels that have gone into how much volume is added, or not added, but how much space is taken up by loosely thrown sacks of wood versus stacked and loose is not the same volume. Period. It's not. Bar none, not the same volume. A cord of wood stacked in rows versus tossed into a pile is not the same. Not the same. A pile will be bigger. It will look bigger, and will take up more space versus stacked. That's just common sense. That's science. That's math. Okay, math. Period. So, um, a so if you have a trailer, that is 10 by 5 by 5.5, that's gonna be 275 cubic feet. Whereas a cord of wood is going to be 256. That's 2 times 128. 256. No, that's going to be stacked, right? So if the person is claiming that that trailer is 2 cords of wood, and 2 cords of wood is 256 cubic feet, and if the trailer is 275 not heaped, loosely thrown, that's a difference of what? That's like 20 cubic feet. Okay. Now I don't think that what the it was advertised is going to be 2 quarts. I don't see that. I don't see a 20 cubic feet difference stacked versus loosely thrown. I don't see it. So what I did was, as I contacted my good buddy Daniel Atkins, and I asked for his advice, and he did the math too, as well as here's what he told me. He said, if you are talking to a firewood seller and you're having any second guesses, stop there and don't make a sale. Move on. Move on. Do not waste your time. Don't waste your money. Move on. There's other people who are selling firewood, and I like that advice, and I want other people to take that advice as well. If you're in your gut, if you're feeling any flags, walk away. Especially if you're chatting with them on the phone, text, or on a messenger platform, walk away. Now there are many questions to ask. I asked this person how long the lengths are. I didn't ask how big the splits were, because that doesn't matter. I can always resplit. I understood that it was not seasoned, but not green, but kind of somewhere in the middle, and that was fine too. I asked if it was stacked or not stacked. I asked various questions, but in the end, the math didn't work out. It didn't work out for me, and I didn't feel that it was going to be two full cores. And the money that he was asking for it was just enough where I didn't feel comfortable being burned again. Now, I've been burned time and time again buying wood in order to potentially flip it, to resell it. Now, wood that I would take in now, I would probably, a portion of it, and of course I would measure it, a portion of it I would measure with the moisture meter and potentially burn in my own home now, because I'm definitely low on firewood. I have zero. I have none right now. I am sold out of wood. Or I burned all the wood that I have for my personal use. I'm out. So I'm resorting to burning pallets in in, in my own stove. It is sad to say, and I am unwilling to burn any firewood right now that I have, because that firewood that I have now is to sell. I have dry firewood, but that's for selling, not for burning for my own consumption. So, and we have heaters in the house. We're not cold. We do have heaters in the house, and it is what it is. But that's just where I'm at now. So it's just a story of do the math. Do the math. Ask questions, and if the person is annoyed by your questions, saying that you're asking too many questions or getting annoyed, then walk away. Walk away, folks. You are in no obligation to buy anything from anyone. Please do not feel obligated to any meat. Now, there was a time back in December, around Christmas, where I had this crackhead on my property wanting to sell me this cord, And I said yes because I didn't feel safe. I didn't want him to be pissed off and cause a scene. So I bought the what he was calling a cord that was dried. It was not a cord. It was not dry, just for my own safety and my family's safety, because now he knows where I live. But if you're just chatting with a person and they don't know where you live and just chatting, say no. So say thanks, but no thanks. You can always do that. You never feel obligated to buy anything from anyone, especially when it's firewood. Now I understand people are desperate, and sometimes different times takes desperate measures. I get it, but I just hope that you would not be in the position to be that desperate that where you would not that you would don't take your gut instinct into account and say yes to something and turn out to regret it later on. But that's just a story that I have. Let me know down in the comments if my math is wrong or what you would do in the situation. Again, it was some good look. It was sounding like some good hardwood, but I was not that desperate, and I ended up not pulling the trigger. Funny enough, I was talking to the guy afterwards, saying that I have a channel on YouTube, and now we're friendly, still chatting. But I had to walk away from the sale. Apparently, he's been selling wood for several years to people in his community, and he's had no complaints. Well, sadly, a lot of people do not know what a court is or looks like, or even if they want to restock it, figure, well, I got burned and I got shorted. Well, what can they really do? There's no recourse. What are you gonna do? You're gonna call them back saying, "Hey, like you shorted me." People are not gonna refund you or come back with more wood. Most people will not do that. So it doesn't matter if you have no complaints, because people probably won't complain, right? So, and if people are going to complain, so it's good for you on selling wood and you're shorting people, and have it not be like one full cord or two full cords, whatever. Um, Stated that it's a waste of time to stack just to pour it out. Well, I get that, but how are you measuring how much is in your trailer when it's loosely thrown in? If you have two stacks and of two cords in your yard, and you throw it in, then you know. But if you're throwing in from a pile and you already don't know what you're doing, then you don't know how much is actually in your trailer. You don't. Period. As well as there's no way that you could haul a cord of firewood in a truck. It's not possible. There's no way that you have a 16-foot bed in a truck. It's just not a thing, okay? In most regular sized trucks, period. Um, yeah, it's just crazy to me how people can feel good about themselves shorting people or selling wood that is dirty or seasoned when it is claimed to be seasoned on the ad. Anyway, short story, just me wanted to make one more sale with a cage, and then my interaction with someone. You let me know your thoughts. Is my math wrong? Is their math wrong? How the situation could be better on both ends, etc. You let me know down in the comments. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Until next time, remember, life is short to be a prick, so be kind to another. Rock and roll. Stay safe, you can. Cheers.